Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Coming your way on today's show, our all-too-early NBA power rankings. We go all the way from 30 to 1 following the NBA draft and the NBA free agency period. First, though, have to give a shout-out to Mint Mobile for sponsoring today's show. Cell phone plans in a period of inflation, when people are trying to save money, they're changing the game. Plans for as low as $15 per month. We'll tell you more about Mint Mobile coming up here in just a few moments, but utilize that link to save money today. Go to mintmobile.com/chatsports. You don't have to change your cell phone or your cell phone number. Once again, we'll tell you more about Mint Mobile here in just a few minutes. So our NBA power rankings are here. This list put together by yours truly, and I understand a lot of people are going to bash me in the comment section, but I believe these power rankings are pretty solid. At number 30, a little bit of a debate here at Chat Sports as I put my rankings out there for other people to respond to, and feel free to respond to them yourself in the comment section. San Antonio Spurs. Who is their best player on that roster? Exactly. They're coming in at number 30. I understand they have the power of Greg Popovich, and they always exceed expectations even when they have average rosters, but I think they're tanking for Victor Wembanyama, and that is going to be the swan song for Greg Popovich to land him. They're going to be bad this year. Spurs at number 30. At number 29, it's the Houston Rockets, and let me say this. I love what Houston has been able to do the last two drafts, stockpiling some really good young talent. I like Jalen Green. I think Jabari Smith is going to be a stud. He was the number one player on my big board. I'm going to remain with that status because while he was down at the start of NBA Summer League, his all-around game, it tells me he has some of the most potential in this 2022 NBA draft class. Here's the problem with Houston. Not only is Silas still a really young head coach, they also have one of the youngest rosters in the NBA, and because of that, playing in a loaded Western Conference, they might improve drastically, but they are in that 29 spot for me. Same can be said for the Orlando Magic. Their best player is going to be Paolo Banchero this upcoming season. And like Houston, I like what they've been able to do in their roster construction process. Paolo Banchero, stud. Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, Wendell Carter is criminally underrated. The list goes on and on and on. They brought back Mo Bamba, Jonathan Isaac coming off that injury last year. I think that the Rockets, Magic, Detroit Pistons, who are coming in at number 27, they're going to be some of the most fun and entertaining NBA League Pass teams where you don't want to miss when they're either playing your squad during the regular season or just playing on national television because of the collection of young talent. What I just said about Houston and the Magic, same could be said for the Detroit Pistons as well. Like Sadiq Bey, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey. My goodness, Detroit can be scary in a couple of years, but as of right now, there are veteran-laden teams who are going to be better. Number 26, the Oklahoma City Thunder. If we were to break this down in tiers, the Thunder would be right there with the Pistons, Magic, and Rockets in their own tier as four squads. Some of the breakout teams looming in a couple of years. NBA League Pass teams that you want to watch night in and night out because you want to see the development of some of these young bulls. But going into this year, the talent level in the NBA in terms of individuals and teams is as deep as it's ever been, as evidenced by these power rankings. I love what these young organizations are doing, but they're at the bottom of our power rankings because they're just too young to compete. Now, with that, I had the San Antonio Spurs ranked as the 30th best team in the NBA. That means that they are the worst. Who do you think is the worst team in the NBA? Let us know right now. Just outside of that bottom five, Sacramento Kings. Look, their starting five is going to be De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, Richaun Holmes, Davion Mitchell coming in off the bench. It always comes down to dysfunction and a bad culture in Sacramento. With the new regime, new head coach in Mike Brown, can they reverse that? Can they be about 500? If that's the case, that'll be a win in Northern California. At 24, it's the Washington Wizards. Outside of Bradley Beal, don't really like the roster. Some concerns about Johnny Davis and his lack of elite athleticism throughout the NBA Summer League. Corey Kispert going to have to take a big jump. Rory Hachimura, solid player, but doesn't move the needle. Can Kristaps Porzingis stay healthy? If that's the case, then maybe the Wizards at the end of the season could be a play-in team or one of the latter teams to get in to the Eastern Conference playoffs. Because of Miles Bridges being charged with domestic violence as well as child abuse, and he has since pled not guilty, the Hornets' offseason plans were just screwed. And LaMelo Ball doesn't have his number one running mate from last year. So that roster a little bit weak. The Hornets, you can make the argument, should be lower on that list without Bridges. Number 22, Indiana Pacers. And we were talking about the Pacers here. I like Tyrese Halliburton. I like Chris Duarte. You still have Miles Turner. What they've done in the draft, pretty solid. Benedict Mathurin, I think, is going to be a stud. I'm really excited for his growth. Number 21, Utah Jazz. This could involve an asterisk, and there are some other teams on this list who could also have that star by their name. With Donovan Mitchell, they're going to be better. But if they trade away Donovan Mitchell, they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA, and they too could make a play for Victor Wembanyama in order to tank. Tanking for Victor. It's going to be a real thing. But the Jazz, after trading away Rudy Gobert, really their only go-to option, it's Donovan Mitchell, number 21. I think that's justified. Which team are people sleeping on? And if you think that I'm sleeping on a squad, let me know right now in the comment section. Interested to see which teams you come up with. As I said at the top of the show, today's show, sponsored by Mint Mobile. You may have heard of them before. You know the really good-looking and famous actor Ryan Reynolds? He actually owns this cell phone company on America's largest 5G network. If you head to mintmobile.com/chatsports, you can start saving money today. And look at this right here. Plans starting as low as $15 per month. Not only is it operating on America's largest 5G network, and it's really affordable, you also get unlimited talk and text, high-speed data, and a mobile hotspot. What's also cool, you don't have to change your cell phone and get a new one or change your cell phone number. Like me, I wouldn't want to change my cell phone number because a lot of people would be hitting me up and being like, yo, Chase, you're ignoring me. No, I'm not ignoring you. I'm not putting you on red. I just changed my cell phone number. With Mint Mobile, you don't have to do that. Also, you can switch seamlessly between 5G and 4G LTE, whichever is strongest where you are. MintMobile.com/chatsports. Be like me and start saving that bread today. Number 20, the Portland Trailblazers. And with the Trailblazers, I actually really like what they've done throughout this offseason. With Damian Lillard, you have to bulk up that defense. They've been able to do that with Gary Payton II as well as Jeremy Grant. Number 19, Chicago Bulls. Now, throughout about the halfway point of last year, they were the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, suffered a bunch of injuries, and they just didn't look good against other playoff teams in the NBA last year. And because of that, I have them number 19 on my list. Now, they can prove me wrong and certainly climb up and trickle up on our power rankings, but just some questions about them. And without Lonzo Ball, what do they do at point guard? Goran Dragic, Alex Caruso, is that enough? We will see. Atlanta Hawks coming in at number 18. Really fascinated to see how DeJounte Murray and Trae Young can work together in that backcourt. I think it allows Trae Young to operate more off-ball in a Steph Curry fashion. And if that's the case, he could be even more efficient than he was last year when he shot around 40% from three with a ton of volume. I think the Lakers roster right now, at this current moment, is terrible, especially if they have Russell Westbrook. Now, yes, in a playoff series, you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But outside of that, they don't have depth. They lack athleticism. That defense, not all that good. Trade away Russell Westbrook if you can. You bring in Kyrie Irving. They might be a top 10 team. But right now, number 17, I think they're going to be average with the current construction of this roster. Are the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron's former team, better? I think they are. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, they have star power as well as depth and emerging young pieces under affordable contracts. Cleveland Cavaliers, surprise team last year, could surprise some people this year as well. Speaking of the Los Angeles Lakers, how many games with this current roster will they win next year? Let us know right now in the comment section. Top 15 now, Toronto Raptors, a pesky and feisty team, and I really like them. Arguably the best general manager, Masai Ujiri, one of the best coaches in Nick Nurse. Can OG Anunoby continue to grow? Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year? I think so, because in that player development program, they're going to continue to rise. Number 14, New York Knicks. They don't have Donovan Mitchell yet. If they get him, they could go up to 12, 13, maybe even 11, but I like what they've been able to do in free agency. I think Jalen Brunson in that deal, it's actually a good one considering where the market is going. One of the teams I'm most excited to watch this year, New Orleans Pelicans. You get back Zion Williamson. That starting five is honestly one of the best in the NBA. Who's going to start at point guard? I guess Devontae Graham, but he got DNP'd throughout the playoffs. But you still have CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, one of the best scoring wings, Zion Williamson and Jonas Valanciunas with the good defense of Jose Alvarado, as well as Herb Jones. And then you drafted Dyson Daniels. That team, deep, and they can get it done on both ends of the floor. Number 12, Minnesota Timberwolves. I had trouble here. They could be 15, they could be 12. I don't really like paying $70+ million to two centers in today's NBA and Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, but I think Anthony Edwards could take that next step and be a top 10 to 15 player by the end of this upcoming season. Number 11, Denver Nuggets. They have the two-time reigning MVP. They're going to get back Jamal Murray and hopefully Michael Porter Jr. That right there, a pretty good three-headed combo in the Mile High City. So we're about to break down the top 10 teams in our power rankings. But first, if you love the NBA, Chat Sports is your home for the best NBA year-round coverage. Subscribe today by hitting that red sub button down below or head to youtube.com/chatsportstv. Top 10 now. I understand that the Dallas Mavericks lost Jalen Brunson. That certainly is a big hole to fill, no question about that. But Luka Doncic is a top 5 player. And with him, you're a player to compete for the Western Conference crown year in and year out. And if he's in better shape, if he continues to get better, and he continues forward on this current trajectory, look out. Luka could take over the league. Dallas Mavericks coming in at number 10. Brooklyn Nets, this might be controversial, but right now, they still have Kevin Durant. They still have Kyrie Irving. And think about what they've been able to do throughout this offseason. TJ Warren, walking bucket, brought back Nick Claxton, Patty Mills, Royce O'Neal. Some of the moves that they've made in free agency, pretty solid. Let's figure that they get back Ben Simmons, who's a first-team All-NBA defender and could play that Draymond Green role. Joe Harris is healthy. Seth Curry as well to give you some shooting. It's a pretty good roster. Number 8, Los Angeles Clippers. Kind of like the Brooklyn Nets here. We know what players they're going to get back, and they're going to actually have these players, unlike the Brooklyn Nets potentially. But Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson, you bring back Nicholas Batum. The list goes on and on and on for the Los Angeles Clippers. They could compete to win the West. And 2 years ago, they may have won the Western Conference if Kawhi Leonard didn't go down. At number 7, Philadelphia 76ers. I think they've been able to improve their depth and their toughness, 2 areas of need throughout this offseason. Their starting 5 ranked by Bleacher Report as the 3rd best in the NBA. And you think about it, it is pretty solid. James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. You have D'Anthony Melton now leading that bench unit. Pretty solid, but they haven't won a second-round playoff series since 2001. They are not a top 5 team because of that, in my opinion. Number 6, Miami Heat. Are they going to trade for KD? They haven't yet. Up to this point, though, this is a team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think that Jimmy Butler is a top 10 player in the NBA. Really like the Miami Heat culture, the roster construction, good coaching, and the depth, and the fact that they always develop players and maximize them. Predict the 2023 NBA Finals matchup. It was almost the Miami Heat. This past year, Boston Celtics, Golden State Warriors, in case you've been on vacation with no phone. But predict the NBA Finals matchup next year. I'm going Warriors-Bucks. Our top 5 now, Phoenix Suns. They bring back DeAndre Ayton. This is a team that was a number 1 seed in the West this past year. 2 years ago, made it to the NBA Finals. Chris Paul, elite basketball still left. Devin Booker, very good. Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder. This is a team that can play different styles offensively and defensively, and they're no doubt a top 5 roster and team in the NBA. How about the Memphis Grizzlies at number 4? Ja Morant is an MVP candidate. Desmond Bane is a stud. I like Dylan Brooks. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been able to show flashes. Steven Adams, if you want to go with a bulky lineup against some other teams that have big 5s, you throw them into the ring as well. And the Memphis Grizzlies, they've done a fantastic job of identifying, developing, and producing really good talent. And last year, they really did challenge the Golden State Warriors in that second-round series. What would have happened if Ja Morant didn't go out? Number 3, Boston Celtics. Absolutely love what they've been able to do this offseason. Malcolm Brogdon, Danilo Gallinari. Can Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown take yet another step? I don't think that's crazy. Robert Williams was sensational this past year defensively as the really modern-day prototype for centers who can't shoot. Depth, defense, offense, star power, youth, Celtics. at that 3 spot. Number 2, Milwaukee Bucks, another free agency winner for me. They brought back a lot of players who have been a part of this championship culture. And in my opinion, they have the best and most dominant player in the NBA in Giannis. Joe Ingles, him coming off that torn ACL, a sneaky signing, 40% three-point shooter. He's going to get a lot of open looks on this team this year. At number 1, it's the reigning NBA champions, the Golden State Warriors. They're the best team in the NBA because they just won the title and they were able to replenish and reload that roster. You lost Otto Porter Jr., Gary Payton II. Big losses for sure. You replaced them with JaMychal Green, Dante DiVincenzo. You brought back Kevon Looney. You add James Wiseman, further development of Jonathan Kuminga, an athletic freak, Moses Moody, and we didn't even mention Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and Jordan Poole. Best coach team, best run team, best roster, Golden State Warriors, number 1 in our all too early power rankings. So, if you want to bash me in the comment section, you want to sound off and say, Chase, you're a fraud, you had this team too low and this team too high, that's fine. Either way, grade my power rankings and explain why you gave me that respective grade. A, B, C, D, or F. As always, no matter if you like my power rankings or you don't, we appreciate you for making Chat Sports a part of your day.